Orange team.
Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Spencer.
And this is Board Game Rundown. Today we're going to talk about Ascension Tactics. Right here. This is Ascension, the card game, but
The tactics game.
The tactics game. So this is by Ultra Pro, Stoneblade Games.
Yep.
They're the Ascension card game, whether you play via the app, which I do every day, or you have a physical copy of the game, is a very popular deck builder that I enjoy quite a bit. And so this is the deck builder, but with the tactical minis board.
Yeah.
So in this game, you've got champions, which are up here in front of you. They are your main characters that you're going to use. They all have unique abilities. You can either draft them or start with like an assigned set.
Each scenario that you'll find in the scenario book will have like recommended like starting ones, or you can do a draft version where you put the whole deck together, you put out 6, and you just draft your team.
Sure. I'd be interested in seeing how that goes too as well. We played with this is the recommended starting bit. You're going to go around and you're going to battle. First one to 30 points, kind of like an Ascension where you run that point pool out.
Right.
But in this one, you've got your normal buying power, which is like the swords, cross. You use those to buy cards out of your lineup, or the triangle. Yeah. Then you've got your combat power, which is the red swords, and you use those to activate your champions. Your champions are going to have an activation cost in the center of their card. You want to just use that one as a... So they got an activation cost there in the center. They have a combat value and a life or defense value. So if you meet or exceed that defense, that character will die. So like Ascension, you are going to be buying cards out of this lineup to build up your hand, to give you better buying power, to give you more... more combat, so you can activate maybe more of your
champions,
heroes, more of your champions. Not heroes, more of your champions. But then you might be gaining constructs, which then you are going to, instead of in regular Ascension where they just kind of go out, when you play them,
they just sit out.
They sit out, and then they might give you like an ongoing ability or help contribute to your engine. Your constructs in this one, which is really cool, is actually they equip to your champion. And then they give them additional combat or defense abilities. Like
and slay.
I like how on the bottom they tell you, so it's easy to see what it does.
Iconography is really solid in this. So if you know how to play Ascension, you basically know how to play like half of this game right off the bat. Then the tactical portion is actually very straightforward. You get 3 move. And you get an attack. And you can do it in either order, but you have to finish one before you could do the other. So you can't move, attack, move.
Right.
Then you've got, at least in the scenario we played, there are these portals. You get points for
controlling the portals.
And it's
honor
just,
around it.
And it's just majority. And then there was a central portal in the scenario we played where you had to be on top of it. You can't move out of it once you've committed that character to it, but it's 3 points.
It's worth 3 points for standing there.
So it's a good way to just start getting points, but you also become a target. King of the hill, right? As we explained it. And that's basically the rules. I mean, it's really straightforward.
The only big difference I would say between like normal Ascension and this one is normally in normal Ascension, when you fight the monsters, they go away to like a discard, like to the void. And this one, when you defeat a monster, you're just going to join your team, and then you can then command them. And the same with the cultists. Instead of just like, I have 2 leftover fight, I'll kill a cultist. No, you get to summon a cultist to your side, basically, and he becomes a champion for you, and you can put them out there.
Put a little ring on him.
Each team can have up to 4 champions.
And so the cultists are super weak, but...
They are. They take up area.
They take up area, and they can control. They can help you control portals.
And pick up treasure tokens.
Right.
Which can be helpful, too.
So it's great to send them around to do the menial tasks, so you can actually send your champions in to try to do bigger things, right?
No, I totally found it. This guy costs 4 to activate, but he activates 2 of the cultists every time he does.
For free.
And it was totally worth just activating him for the cultists.
Yeah, that gives you 3 minis that you get movement with and get next to things, and that's pretty strong.
Yeah, so let's go into components.
Okay.
So components, if you like Ascension artwork, you're good. Because this is Ascension artwork.
It is.
Through and through. Now, different sets of Ascension have varying styles of artwork, but the theme is always the same. And at first there was some artwork on some Ascension cards where I didn't love, but actually the more I played the game, and kind of got into the world and started reading like the flavor text and stuff, I just started to like the art a lot more.
Okay.
But this is more of that. I believe there are different artists for the cards.
Yeah, because they don't look like they're like the same like style. Or some of them.
Right. These have different styles. Right. But I really like the artwork. I think the miniatures are really nice looking. Obviously, I think they would benefit from being painted.
Yes, for
I
sure.
mean, this is Bob. This is relatively new, right, for you, right?
I mean, this is from the first Kickstarter.
Okay.
It was probably pushing a year ago, but they're getting ready to do another Kickstarter here
gotcha.
soon. So that's why I was really hoping to get this to the
But
table.
we finally got it to the table.
Yeah,
so
finally
we're
got it to the
playing
table.
it.
We heard people that say it was good, so we got a chance to play it, and yeah, and I'm probably gonna be back and kick. Spoiler alert.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
This is a lot of fun.
But the miniatures now they might seem like they feel like, but I don't want to find out.
So miniature.
They might find like they might seem a little on the brittle
Okay,
side.
yeah, that's
It's not like that.
plastic.
Yeah, it's not that rubbery kind of plastic you get
right.
with like some CMON games. It's not a knock. It's just like, hey, heads up.
Right.
But the detail is there.
Yeah, the details of it.
The details
All
there.
the scales on this guy. Unfortunately, he's a little top heavy.
yeah.
that's
He
true.
tips over a little bit.
That's
but,
true.
But he's amazing, massive thing.
But what's fun though is that when you're like, oh, I recruited this champion. Where's the mini for that? Oh my God!
Yeah,
Bring out like this huge
Yeah,
thing.
it was like, oh, it's this little guy on a dragon head. Where's this little guy at? Oh no, he's on a dragon.
Yeah.
He's right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's bigger than expected.
So
Something to note: this is, like I said, the Kickstarter version. These rings, I believe, don't come in the standard version.
how would you keep track of
Whose cultist is whose?
Yeah.
I think you have to keep track, and plus there is like these little stands, right? And then it also comes with
Oh, do the
Standees?
cultists come as
I think
like
there's
standees?
like a little standee type of
Okay,
thing that
okay.
you can
Oh,
do,
okay,
as opposed
okay.
to the mini.
So
So just keep that in mind. Like,
sure. Well, having the version I played with the miniatures, amazing. I guess
like that.
standees would be fine if you were able
especially
to
if it's
get
the cultist.
if
you know,
you're
it's-
if you're able to get the game for cheap,
right.
you know, and you get a standees version if you don't care about the
Right.
minis.
Sure. Plus these rings, I'm sure they're cheap to find.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
they're pretty
yeah.
universal. I don't think it's a unique size. or
No,
anything.
that looks just
Pretty
like the Blood
standard.
Rage
Yeah.
size, you know, the other CMON games with
Probably just
that
take him
base
from
size.
another game.
Exactly.
If you needed to.
If you need to.
You've got your standard scoring point tokens.
Yep.
The cards are really good quality.
Really nice quality cards. They're
Really
not like
good
linen
quality.
finish or anything, but they're a real nice heft
Yeah.
to them.
I just wish that they had the name of the artist on them. They don't.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice. No, it doesn't right here. Oh no, it doesn't.
Nope. It says Stoneblade Entertainment.
Yep.
Other than that, I mean, there's not a ton to the components.
Right. I mean, like, so this is technically a double-sided board. The other side of the board has the base setup for like the generic like teaching game and whatnot. This side's completely blank, and it's got a bunch of these tiles.
Right.
Which are
Oh, yeah, we need to
double-sided
talk about
with
the
a bunch
tiles.
of different things on them. They're decent thickness. They're not like warping at all.
No.
And then it was easy to tell these
The portals.
those portals apart. Although the purple and the blue, I had a difficult time with that. But when I played this 2v2 the other day, we just played on the same team, so it didn't really matter to me.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, there are the co-op versions
Yeah,
of this.
yeah. So there's all types. So there's a huge scenario book that it does come with, and it's got like, this is a scenario for like 1 players, 2 players, 4 players, 3 players, and so you just look for one that fits your player count and or that has like a kind of objective that you want to do. There's a cooperative mode to it and like a campaign style mode that you can do. So there's a lot of different ways to play the game, which
like
is
that.
super cool. Yeah, and then on the back it does have a breakdown of like all of the people, like the minis, where they go, their name,
where to put
so
them.
it kind of makes it easy to give you a little quick component list there. Yeah, it just tells you all the different minis and whatnot, and where they're at and where they go in
Right.
the box.
I love
So
that they start
that's-
doing that.
Yeah,
It's such a good idea.
it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, I mean the tiles are fine. They do exactly what they need to do. I
Yep.
think any more they might be in the way because you can't really make this like a 3D thing because you need to be able to
can
put
be
your
on
guy
it.
on it.
Correct.
And these do not look like something that's got a platform on the top of it. You know what I mean? So it needs to be a flat tile. The only thing that's kind of boring is the other side of these
The treasure
tokens.
tokens?
Yeah.
But I don't know
I mean,
what.
it's the right icons. So
yeah, I mean,
not much-
you don't. Not everything has to like blow you away, right?
Sure.
I don't know what you do differently, but it's
I mean,
like,
you could make 3D printed chests that have like the different things on the bottom of them, I guess, and then
sure.
put those out there. But that would way increase the price for not
oh
a
my
whole
gosh.
lot of improvement. So
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I would just take that.
the tile,
without the
this is,
effort
the token
and the
is
time.
fine. Yep, agreed.
Because it would also jack up your storage, right? That'd take up a
Yeah,
lot more space.
that would be very difficult to store.
All right, let's go into final thoughts then. Bobby,
Yeah,
this is your game.
it is.
Give us your final thoughts.
I really enjoy this. I don't play Ascension quite as much as Tim. I have played it a lot, but Tim plays the app every day. I don't play it quite every day. But
I'm
I
glad to get that app. I didn't know
yeah,
it was there.
Excellent.
it does play very well, and it's got all the expansions. You can just take them in and out depending on how you
nice.
want to do it. Yeah, because they're all like standalone expansions, which is what
You're not being paid by them, by
Ascension
the way.
Tactics do.
Right.
But no, this was super neat. We busted out on Friday to try to learn it and play it. It was very intuitive, with especially if you played Ascension before, with the way the iconography works. A lot of the abilities work the way that you think they would, like the way the line of sight and all that kind of goes. It was super enjoyable. I love tactics games. I like deck builders. I think this was a really good mix of the two. There was a little bit of ambiguity about will this guy trigger this and that. And so we just kind of did it the way we thought it should trigger. Whether that's 100% correct or not, I didn't notice it in the FAQ. So we just all played by the same rule, and I think that was a fair way to go about it. But other than that, though, I think that it was pretty good. The books are a nice size. There's 2 of them. Right. One's the normal rule book, and the other one is all scenarios and whatnot, but there's quite a bit of information in there. But it was rather enjoyable.
And I feel like with me being very familiar with Ascension, this was like a 5-minute teach to me, right?
Yeah.
It's like, how does the minis part of this work?
Yeah.
And
this I got.
Yeah. And again, we play a ton of territory control, tactical miniature games. So also
that part worked.
Pretty much
the way you thought it would.
Yeah.
It's intuitive.
It is.
Yeah. Spencer, how about you, man?
So I have played less Ascension, so I needed the rule a little more, and really it was no problem. It's intuitive. One of the problems that we had, and we made a decision, is the allegiance, is that what we call it?
Yep.
I don't think we had a problem with it.
I had a problem
you
with
had
it.
a problem.
Yeah.
with
One of the problems I had is the allegiance saying your guys down here don't count.
Yeah.
So in order to activate an allegiance, you have to play 2 of them. I never got any of those to go off because I never got 2
it was
of
tough.
them.
Which say that, and that might be something that we misinterpreted, because in the book it does say when you play another one, so we think you had to play 2 because that's the way it's kind of worded. But maybe they did errata it to say if you've got a Earthbound hero out, that counts as basically your first card played, even though you didn't technically play it. Maybe if you activate it, then it counts, but it didn't quite say that. That's not the terminology it used. And it's very specific when it says acquired, which is why we kind of ruled it that way.
So I was looking through the book, hoping to have an example of it, but they didn't have any examples in the book. I was a little disappointed in that. I loved the artwork on it. Fantastic. The minis are amazing. There was one other thing I'm trying to think of what it was. Probably won't think of it until after we're done.
So I think my whole thing with that whole
ruling
is that playing a ton of Ascension.
Yeah, you guys obviously have more
The
experience.
way that Ascension works is when you play that first card, that doesn't trigger your allegiance.
Anything.
You have to play the second card, because there is a version of Ascension, an expansion, where you have a hero that gives you buffs based on how many times you get. So there's a Lifebound hero, a Void hero, a Mechana hero, and an Enlightened hero. So if you've got the Lifebound hero, when you buy a Lifebound card, that hero levels up 1, right? But that doesn't trigger an allegiance, effect, because that's a thing over here, right? So
it's not a card you played.
Correct. So for me, this is here. So this doesn't level up when I play things over here, because this is a separate thing.
Right.
But I get it. I understand the need, but for me, it felt pretty clear right away. But again, that's just experience and different things, right?
So if you haven't played the game, it might be more ambiguous.
Sure. Sure.
But I mean, obviously, that's not a major deal. I'm sure online people have explained it many times. I just didn't bother to look online.
No, we were just sat down to play it today.
You guys know,
I mean, we didn't know we were going to play it, and we played it. All right. You got anything else?
Well, I did, but I can't remember it, so no.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, if you think of it, just hop in.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't know how the rule book was, because I didn't need it. I mean, if I had had a question, I would have looked at it.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I didn't even need the
That was
rule
the only
book.
thing we needed it
But
for.
if something came up, I mean, we could have looked at it. But it seems like the rule book was laid out pretty good.
Yeah, it seemed pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have much issue with it at all. It says, these are your people. This is how they work. This is how you activate them. This is how your move action works. It was pretty straightforward, especially having played.
Oh, I did
Ascension.
look at it one time. And it did a really good job, because we were looking at line of sight.
Yep.
And I looked up a thing, and I looked at ranged attack, and then it says for line of sight rules, see page 21, which is fantastic,
Awesome,
right? So then I'm like, oh, now I don't have to flip through the book anymore to find what I need. I just go right to what I need. Before I even read any text, there was a diagram that answered my question.
Yeah.
It was like a green arrow through a shrine. I'm like, oh, that's line of sight.
I didn't realize it was green.
I'm sorry, Bob.
It was a solid line, so and not the dotted line that indicated you couldn't do it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But still, great iconography, right?
Yeah.
Because that still then bypasses colorblind issues.
Yep.
So again, I love Ascension anyways, so this is more of that. Now, I would tell you, I was very skeptical about this because of Sentinels Tactics.
Oh yeah.
Sentinels Tactics is a game that came out years ago, and unfortunately, I don't want to say virtually unplayable, but was kind of tough to play.
Yeah.
Kind of tough to play, and then you just didn't want to get back out to the table. We all love, well, I don't know about you, but Bob and I at the time loved Sentinels of the Multiverse. I still love it.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
Still love Sentinels of the Multiverse. I was really glad you backed it because it's like, I couldn't back it when the Kickstarter went. And then we played it.
It was disappointing.
It was disappointing, you know, unfortunately. And then you started to see it on like bargain bin, you know, stuff. And it's like, oh, man, that sucks.
Yep.
So I was very like, I don't know, who knows? Like
don't be messing up one of my card games I like.
The last blah, blah, blah tactics game was not great.
Right.
But I really feel like they did a really good job. I was in last place, but I was able by the end to get very close.
Right.
I had built up a very nice engine. And I could have done some things differently that would have had me closer. I don't know that we could have stopped the juggernaut that turned out to be Spencer by the end.
Yeah, by the end.
You were getting close.
But it was like...
I had some heavy hitters.
You did. And so the thing was...
He had the heaviest hitter.
But the thing was, it's like I either hit you to stop you from winning, or I hit
turn
you
away.
to
slow me
turns
down.
away.
Yeah. So it's like, if I kill the guy who could win next turn, then that gives me an extra turn to try to get in position, right? So I found that very satisfying because I was catching up really quick. Like I went from like 3 points to 21 points by the end of the game in just a couple of turns. By being able to...
You snagged 2 portals away super quick and was like, oh, wait a minute.
And then was just able to hold on to them because everything else had gotten cleared out.
Right.
You know, and so, I don't know, I had a really good time with this. I enjoyed every aspect of the game. I have no complaints.
Yeah, I can see if 2 people are like going at it, the third one is just going to, take the other portals and run away with it. No one's going to be able to stop them.
Which is why I enjoyed the 2v2 version that we played, because we don't want to worry about king making and things like that. So the 2v2, you share a turn, so you kind of you don't share resources, but like we share our turn.
Yeah, I'm going to activate. I'm going to go over here.
And you kind of do it in order too, like, oh, you know what, I'm going to buy this for one, see something else come out, see if for better for you, right? So you can kind of like really kind of play the marketplace.
It almost makes me think of the merge mechanic in Ankh, where you can really like tag team and time your turns and your actions. Like that's great.
And I do remember the little, it's a kind of nitpicky thing in the beginning. We had a little bit of difficulty with combat and what's the red one called?
Oh yeah, just the red power, which you use to activate your guys.
That's what we call it. There's probably a real word
which you use to activate your guys versus actual like
combat value.
One of them is 2 crossed swords,
strength,
and that's how much damage you do. And the other one is it's probably a shield that it's on.
Well,
red
so you have your defense. Right, and then you have your strength, which is the swords crossed.
Yeah, and then in the middle, there's the red one.
The power you must spend.
But it has a sword on it.
That's power.
And power. So I kind of wish that if they did that, they didn't put a sword on it or something, because just for the beginning.
They did that because that's the standard. Like when you play any other Ascension, like that's the standard resource.
Yeah,
they're used to fight everything. So they did it for fighting. So you command your guy, and when you're using to fight to command him,
it took
that's
a little bit
actual
of
strength.
A couple of times we messed them up. And we had to correct them, saying, no, that's not how much damage you do. That's how much it takes to activate them. Actually, it was him.
Oh, was it you?
No, I didn't mess it up.
No, you almost did. It was you were pointing at something saying he did that much damage.
I asked, but then it wasn't like we acted on it.
Right.
Like,
no. My point is just it was a small thing, a little bit of confusion.
Yeah.
So just keep those separate, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, and I did figure out something later on as we were getting ready to film a review. If I would have played this guy correctly.
Oh yeah.
I might have been able to knock Spencer out that pedestal.
Because you get the extra moves.
Because I had the extra move, and I was using move tokens, which I could have used later in the game, like way later,
been saving him.
to move my big guy in and knock him off of that.
Right.
Would have only bought me one more turn, probably.
Probably.
Full disclosure. But I don't care. Like I had such a good time that I'm like, no, I'm just gonna play it right next time. Like I can't wait to play again. So no, I mean this was really fun, Bob. This was really good. I'm glad that you took the gamble on it.
Me too. It sat on my shelf for a long time too. I was like, man, I really want to play this game. I bring it a bunch. It never got played. So finally, like Friday, I'm like, all right, we're learning this.
I am so glad you brought it.
Yeah, and again, I think I still had that sour taste in my mouth. From the old one.
That happens.
And it's like, I don't know, man, because I love Ascension. I love Sentinels. And but next time it's like, oh yeah, dude, set it up, let's go.
You know,
did you like this one better or the original Ascension or?
The original Ascension, it's just easy to play. It's easy to get to the table.
These are different games.
2 different animals.
Yeah.
2 different animals. This one will take probably just a little bit longer, not overly long or anything, but just a little bit longer than sitting down if we busted out a box of Ascension to play the deck builder out of out of the thing.
Definitely.
But that's it. That's it. All right. Well, let's give this bad boy a rating. Bobby.
Yeah.
How do we do the ratings on the board game rundown?
Well, actually, Tim, what we're going to end up doing is we're all going to give this a score.
Okay.
We're going to use 0.5, so we got a little bit of variation in there. We're going to take those 3 scores that we get. We're going to put it in a little magic calculator here, and that's going to give us, and then we're going to divide by 3. And that's going to give us an average.
Because there's 3 of us.
Correct. And then that average is the number we're going to take. We're going to post that on like BGG and all the other sites where we post ratings for games, so you know what the board game rundown as a whole gave this game.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah.
Good idea. Spencer.
Yes.
What would you like to rate this game, sir?
Oh man, I'm going between an 8.5 and a 9. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 9.
Nice.
It was really fun. I love the minis. The quality is fantastic on the art, the cards, the minis. I didn't see anything in here that wasn't good. Nothing really detracted from it. And one of the things I really liked, when your guy goes in and dies, it's not a huge deal.
Right.
You can bring him back pretty quickly.
You basically lose it for a turn.
So I had a guy who blows himself up, and that's not a big deal.
Right.
Now, granted, he never had a chance
You
to
never
do it.
blew him
but
up.
Yeah, I killed it before he could have.
Bob, this is your game. I'm going to let you go last.
Ooh, okay.
Because you brought it, your Kickstarter. You plugged away for a year to get us to finally play this. So I will give you that honor.
All right.
But Spencer, I agree with you 100%. You gave it the correct rating. This is a 9. I want to play this again. I can't wait to play it again.
Yeah.
I dug it. I can't wait to see the other scenarios.
Right.
Even if I played with the exact same set of characters, I'd be like, let's go. You know what I mean?
You play them differently.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Bobby.
So while I agree with you that this should be a 9, I'm gonna have to take the 0.5 away because the color issue that I have with it.
Oh, sure, totally fine.
Because if I do play this, with legit 4 different people, then it's gonna be more of an issue. Right? When we're playing on the same team, it's not a big issue, right? But since we are in different teams, I would like those to be a little bit different.
But that's only for the cultists, right?
Correct. I'm only using for the cultists. So if I could do a 0.25, I would.
Right. Well, the other solution though is to play as a color you see, and then just kill all
other cultists, right, which is typically what I do, right? So I'll take yellow. Easy for me to figure out. If it's not yellow, it dies.
Yeah.
Right? So you know what? You're right, Tim. I'm not going to let it affect me. I'm going to give it the 9 that I think it deserves, which makes the math machine unnecessary. It's a 9.
Yeah. This was really good, Bob. Yeah. This was really good.
It was enjoyable.
Happy, and I love it. Here's the other thing: is it legitimately gives me joy when somebody spends a bunch of money on a game and it's actually
a good game.
Yeah. So this was really awesome. I can't wait for you to back the next one.
I probably will.
I want to see the other characters.
Yeah.
I can't
there's
wait.
So many other minis
I can't wait to play with other, because that's the other thing, right? Is there's a ton of characters.
They have so many variabilities.
There's so much we didn't get through.
I can't wait to see the other characters in action. I can't wait to acquire them via gameplay, which is also fantastic.
Yeah.
I didn't even get an extra one, but I didn't care because it was just so cool.
Spencer was getting all the extras.
And it was really satisfying to be able to say, "Hey, I got this guy."
It was
He's
almost
hard to get.
It was it's almost like a legacy thing, right? Where it's like, oh, what's coming out? When you open up like that new box and you're like, what's in here?
What's in here?
And it's like, oh my gosh! Because when the new cards come out, I mean, we had a dude that came out. That was
destroyed.
If somebody could have got
the whole game.
Would have wiped the board. It would have been incredible.
Yeah, an extra 20 minutes to play the game.
Right, but that would have been a way that I could have won.
And
for sure.
Attacks 4 times.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Vicious.
Sick. Anyway, super good. Love this game. This was fantastic. Ascension Tactics was really good. I can't wait to play again.
Yep, me too.
Anything else, guys?
I think that's about it.
Like Bob always says, like, subscribe.
Yeah, ring the bell. Find us on Discord.
Yeah, super active on Discord. And on Wednesdays, we do a live stream.
We do.
Whiskey Wednesday. So these videos, we try to be evergreen, but we're going to keep doing that live show. So I'm going to keep talking about it.
That's right. If you keep talking about it, you got to keep doing it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. For the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
Bob.
Spencer.
We'll see you next time.